And the engine's still pretty much pulled apart.
Don't have the tools, just make them.
Yeah. You done it? I know it's stressful, but we'll get you inside.
Planned on moving Chuffed out on anchor after beaching. However, old Janet the Yanma had some other ideas and was soon smoking.
Yeah.
You can just wiggle the top pulley.
Yes. So we started the engine to move the boat and ended up having to drag her, as you saw in the video, because this is loose, probably because the bearing is shoddy, and this was getting way overheated. I'm sure you guys remember when I replaced it and was like, oh, I'm not going to do the bearings because I don't really know what I'm doing. Well, I'm now paying for that cost. So we're going to do those bearings, replace this belt, and my fuel pump, despite our repairs, the actual pump is leaking still. So I'm going to have to try and find a new one. Have to go to the automotive repair store and see what we can get. So more boat jobs before we can go anywhere.
So could either just use the pry bar to block it off.
Yeah.
Or just...
You can like... They're going to be on there super tight, I bet.
Having Will not only means I can film more, but also I've learnt a huge amount. From little tips to the inner workings of the engine. Lena and I will soon be mechanics.
Adapter?
And so that's the bearing, or?
No. That's just an adapter to make the pulley fit.
Yeah.
So like, looks a bit like the thing from an angle grinder.
Ah, yeah.
So, yeah, this one is pretty much done. So we'll need a bucket to drain the water. I tried to get this one loose. It's bleeding.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
Oh, that's ugly.
I'll give it a bit of a clean. Hose clamp doesn't look too good.
Lucky I have lots of hose clamps. Jesus.
And the thermostat hasn't seen a service in a while. Oh, yeah, there we are.
So
it's all rusty in here.
Yeah. So that little piece of tubing was stuck in there. It's meant to go on here. So I'm going to have to get the machine shop to fix that up. So this is the old single-use gasket, and Will just told me that I can use a milk crate to replace it, so that's handy.
But I think we just use an impact drill. This looks like it's been glued on.
Yeah. You guys have seen me do this 100 times, but we are taking the saltwater pump off now as well, so we can do the bearings on it. So you got to turn it the opposite direction.
You have to turn it like clockwise to get it loose.
Perhaps that's why when I tried, I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Probably just tightening it.
Making life harder and harder. Alright, that's good to know. Reverse thread.
It was at this point in time I mentioned the missing impeller arm to Will.
So we have to take the alternator off to get to the heat exchanger.
We decided to try vacuum it while Will flashed from the other side.
We got it! I tried so many different ways of that. Oh, that's awesome. Yay! Woohoo! Alright, that is super exciting. That's so awesome.
With that done, we took both the fresh and raw water pump to the workshop for further investigation. Will began pulling apart the freshwater pump, using heat to help undo the bolts. Alright, I don't think I've been doing as good a job filming at the moment. I'm sorry if things have been confusing so far. But I just took the fuel pump off. So basically the fuel pump was leaking. We thought we fixed it. The actual pump itself was leaking. Gonna go try find a new one. It's the primer pump, not the injector. So it should hopefully just like an automotive store, we should get it. Then the engine's still pretty much pulled apart. Salt water intake pump needs new bearings, as does the coolant pump. So that's what we're doing at the moment. So that's mainly in Will's hands. Lucky me for having a helper. Makes life so much easier having someone who's like really knows mechanics on board. Yes. Alright, returning to shore to find some parts. But that hopefully gets you up to date with my terrible filming skills and what's going on.
How did you get the screws out in the end?
Ghetto style.
What style?
Just ghetto style.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, probably nothing for YouTube.
But they're out, that's the main thing?
We just started drilling the heads a little bit lower, tapped them inside, and then we just screw them out, sort of.
Okay. Alright.
A little bit of heat, a little bit of force, a little bit of WD-40.
Well done, guys. You're the bomb. I just cleaned the boat up a little bit and got the fuel pump off, so.
Alright. So next thing is, I don't have a clue how we're gonna fix this one. There's no screw, no bolt, no nothing on this side. It's got a fair bit of wiggle, so it's just same here.
How does it come apart, do you think?
I don't know.
Just pull it?
Probably a pretty big shop press.
Okay. We might be able to do some YouTube and Googling, perhaps.
Yeah, well, so tackle the next one.
Yeah.
We moved on to removing the shaft from the raw water pump with some gentle and persistent taps, and by using a block of wood with a hole in it and a vise as a makeshift press.
Don't have the tools, just make them.
Yeah. We just actually made like a press. Show us how you did it. Yay! Yes. Champion of all champions. Whoa, look at it. I wonder why it wasn't working so good. I don't understand. Okay.
Okay, this one is the cover plate.
For the actual bearing.
Which is the same
Jesus.
as here. That one's the inner cage that holds the little balls in. And there it actually should move.
Oh, shit.
They're well and truly rusted. So same here. This one was just rotating, and this one has molten. So this is sort of a rubber.
Okay. So that bearing is like well and truly completely cracked.
Yes.
Wow. Yay!
Exactly. I just gave it a bit of crack.
I cracked it?
It's got a crack here.
Yeah.
So now you can just slide it up through the part.
Kind of just fall apart.
Yeah. This one's split open now. There we go.
Woo, that's better.
So the other one's off. This one's a hybrid, so it works off the cord. Oh, that's handy. Yeah. Here you go.
Getting the last of the little piece of bearing out, slowly but surely.
We used a long socket to press on the metal part of the bearing and tapped it into place gently.
Do you do any lubricant or anything? Or?
No, grease.
Grease. I think you're going to be the star of this episode, Will, because you've been doing all the work. So if you don't have one of those little C-clip remover things, put one side in and then just squish it around well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ah.
Hi everybody, as you can see, beautiful sunset here in Golfedo. So yeah, where we stand now is Will has rebuilt the saltwater pump completely. My battery ran out of my phone right when he was finishing that. So the raw water pump is spinning nicely, bearings replaced, yeah, ready to go. The other pump has been harder to pull apart, and we need to get that spare part made, the little fitting again. So basically I've got to go do macaw surgery and potentially turtle surgery tomorrow at Puerto Jimenez, so I'm going to go do that. I've left Will the boat keys and some money, and he's going to keep on going with the pumps. I'm going to leave him the GoPro too. Lena said she might do some filming, so we'll see how they feel about doing that, but yeah, that'll be good. And then I'm going to go to Pavones the day after tomorrow, because I have my new board will be ready, so I'm going to just surf for a few days and edit what will be last episode video for you guys. And I have some articles I have to write and basically have an office weekend in Pavones. And then I'll return to the boat, and I'll be very lucky because Will would have hopefully finished almost all the engine work by then. I feel bad he's doing all this work, but honestly, it's been so amazing for me in a lot of ways having Will and Lena on board. Obviously the help and the company's nice, but even more than that is Will really knows what he's doing, and having somebody show you like how to do these jobs. I mean, I've done it on my own and I know I'm capable if I have to, like when push comes to shove, but having someone show you the easier way to do these things is just so good. Like little tiny things like, you know, him heating up the bolts before undoing them, putting the transmission fluid mixed with acetone on is the best, you know, way to undo rusty bolts. I know he's shown me a bunch of little tricks that just, I guess, I just don't know, and it just makes life easier. So yeah, I feel very, very grateful that Will and Lena have come into my life at the exact right time, as things always do happen. Yeah, so and they're going to be hanging around for a while, so we'll hopefully be going sailing together, and they'll be crewing with me too, so you'll see more of them. But in the morning I'll hand all the reins over to him for a while, for a few days, and yeah, we'll go see a macaw and some turtles. No, 2 macaws and a turtle, I lie. Alright, I'm tired. I'm very tired. You guys won't realise this, but the shaft seal was all done yesterday. So basically 7 a.m. start yesterday, turtle surgery finished at 6:30 p.m. And then today we've started working on the engine again straight away, and I'm absolutely bugged. Been rowing in and out to shore like multiple times a day. My legs are sore, my arms are sore, my abs are sore. You know how it is. So I'm going to go finish cooking dinner and get a good night's sleep. Enjoy this beautiful sunset, and then tomorrow we'll go see some animals. Alright, see you tomorrow morning. I took the morning ferry over to Puerto Jimenez and made my way to the clinic in town. We had 3 macaws for review in the clinic, and the most pressing being a beautiful blue and gold macaw with a fast growing mass.
Hey darling. I know it's stressful, but we'll get you inside.
I crushed a nerve in my arm. In this arm, and so for the last 2 months I've been like a bit of a stroke.
Then
And
have a look and see, and you can even just cut under it a little just to see it. Skin, yeah. I think we've kind of got nothing to lose. Right? If it doesn't work, then
I should at least go to sleep.
exactly.
She won't.
I prepared some anaesthesia with the idea that we would begin the mass removal and reassess it as we went along to see if the surgery could be successful or not.
It's her in the muscle, and in about 10 minutes, it'll be up.
I'll just hold it. You want me to put it back in?
Oh, she can go back in, yeah. She can calm her in there.
In no time she was fast asleep, and I began working my way around the dried mass. I will warn you we have some slightly graphic images coming up, not too much surgery, but some viewers might like to skip ahead.
Wow.
Another big chunk off. Okay.
Oh, that's amazing. There is a chance that I know exactly what you mean.
So basically this large chunk was here. We've taken that off and you can see all the pus and abscess inside, and this large chunk was sitting on her leg.
And that's grown within 2 months.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. And you can see it's almost like a burn victim where she hasn't really got skin left. She's just got this kind of underlying subcutaneous tissue.
We discussed every single aspect of this little bird's aftercare, her personality and her current health. The leg on the mass side has scarred so much that she can't actually move it properly. The muscles and skin are so tight that it can barely stretch out, and so it's always stuck up against her body. She's also a known feather plucker, making it very, very likely that this fresh healing wound would be picked to pieces. She's also lost weight, was quite an old bird, and we really didn't know her full history, and we don't have access to very good bird pain relief medications here. After a lot of hard discussion, we decided that the kindest thing was to say goodbye to this pretty girl. A tough decision for everybody involved, and I'm sure animal lovers everywhere will say we really have to save everything, but sometimes quality over quantity of life is so very important. With heavy hearts, we moved on to our next patients, and meanwhile, Will and Lena were dealing with some problems of their own.
So what we have here is the freshwater pump. It's been disassembled in the machine shop. The whole bearings are well and truly shot. So it's got a lot of play. That's the housing. It's got a crack in here. Someone already tried sealing it somehow. It didn't work. So we need to figure out what to do.
So what are you going to do now?
Ich kann das nicht erzählen.
Will was repairing the old fuel pump by soldering the edges of the connections where it had been leaking.
How long have you had her for?
Back at the clinic, we were back to work with the rest of the birds.
Oh, she's pretty, okay, pretty new.
November, she's new. Again, no history. The lower mandible was higher than the head. I can send you photos.
That's insane.
The claws were growing into her feet.
Poor Donna, a beautiful scarlet macaw, had been kept in a tiny cage with very poor nutrition for years and years, so her beak and nails had overgrown severely. She also had completely blocked nostrils from the lack of grooming, the bad nutrition, and dirt accumulation. So after a really good check over, I decided to do a nasal flush. A nasal flush is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Using sterile saline, you gently flush water into the nostrils to help get all the gunk out. You do this with the bird hanging upside down to help prevent aspiration. It is a little scary doing it for the first time, but it works so well, and Donna was instantly breathing better.
Might be able to breathe through your nose a little bit soon.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you can see all the little
Yeah.
cracks that were in there.
That's amazing. do a secret flush.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good idea. And do you think it's grown, or do you think it's pretty much stayed
No,
the
it's
same?
gone.
Gone down, okay, cool.
I thought it was a bee's thing, but it still isn't going away.
I know.
Our final birdie patient was another blue and gold macaw that had a lump appear suddenly under her eye. We investigated it thoroughly and concluded that she must have received a little whack to the face by another bird, and it was a tiny bone callus, likely covering a little tiny fracture in her eye socket. Thankfully, it was already healed and she would be a-okay. But the veterinary work wasn't quite over yet.
Oh, she's so cute. You said she's pretty feisty. So to try and get, there's two ways to tap. To try and get there, you can try and go on the upper side. To try and get fluid, you should try on the lower because it's generally full. There's a little more risk of hitting other organs and things on the lower side. But if you hit anything funky, you don't get anything, you don't want to get like a little bit juicy from here and you just pull that thing.
This little hawksbill turtle had a fishing hook stuck inside her that has been slowly moving through her gastrointestinal tract. She was here to be re-x-rayed to ensure it was still moving, and I performed a coalomic tap to check for blood or any other infectious fluid in her abdomen, which might indicate a puncture had occurred. We had a wild aid film crew too.
Squish through that poo to make sure there's nothing.
It's very sardine, so
Oh, lovely.
so that's what she's been eating over the last few days.
We were sifting through every poo in case a hook turned up. Thankfully, the x-ray showed it's slowly moving through, and with a slow-moving gastrointestinal system of a turtle, it could take another 2 to 3 weeks to come out. Everyone thinks a veterinarian's job's all cuddly and cute, but sometimes it really is just looking through a bunch of poop.
Okay, here we go.
Alright, here we got the leaky fuel pump. And we're gonna have a look at what's wrong with it. Here's the check valve. Just pull the tube. Another O-ring. That's the part that's actually moving. And we've got a spring. Plus one more one-way check valve. Oh, it's not an O-ring. It's some sort of rubber seal, but it's quite hot already. So that must be the part where it's leaking. Okay, here we got the diesel pre-pump. So I cleaned all the things, degreased everything. Now we can assemble it again. Those O-rings are pretty much hardened up. We couldn't source them locally, so we just glue them in with this gasket maker. Pull out a bit. So everything goes after plan. It should be fuel tight again. No more leaks.
Look what you did. Rebuild. Woo! That's awesome. All right. I had another long day. So Will, as you know, discovered that there was a crack in the housing when it was all taken apart, which basically means I need a new pump is the best option. The machine shop guys said that, sorry, said that they could like potentially machine it back together in some way, but they said that by the time they did that, the cost and the time it would take would potentially be easier and more cost effective to just get a new pump. So I'm online now looking at pump sites and emailing some people to see how much it's going to be to get delivered here. It's probably going to be a couple $100, but yeah, better to know, because as Will said, it could have just seized and then I would have been in a much worse position. So unfortunately, I won't be sailing next week by the looks of things, like I promised I would and like I thought I would. But slowly and surely things are getting done, and it's been a very busy few days. Off to Pavones tomorrow, and I've got, look at this bag. You would think I was going to live there for a month, but I'm actually just going to surf for a few days on my brand new board. I'd like to say a big thank you to Carol from Raisin Sail for that little donation. I'm so excited. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to go to Pavones and do a little bit of surfing, but I also have surgery lined up for some cats because the cats are breeding like crazy down there, and we've been trying to wait for a spay and neuter campaign to do it with veterinarians, with a campaign group here, but it just keeps getting put off and these cats keep getting pregnant. So I'm going to do a few of those, and there's also a sick doggy I'm going to check over, and hopefully I'm going to get the first video out for you guys. Yeah, so it's going to be office work and animal work down there. And in the meantime, Will and Lena are going to keep an eye on the boat, and knowing Will, probably find a bunch of things that I've not addressed that needs to be fixed, but all for the better. And yeah, he's going to put the fuel pump back on and do a few other things, leaving them the GoPro in case he discovers anything really funny he wants to do. And yeah, so that's really it. Life update, guys. And yeah, you will see some sailing soon, I promise. I really promise that it is going to happen. It's just going to take some time. So until next episode, I hope you all stay very, very chuffed. Thank you again for watching and supporting, and we'll see you next time. Stay chuffed, everybody.
And the perfect way to end the video. Look at that dreamy sunset. For all the problems and hard work the last few days, looking out at the water on that, pretty spectacular.